again, I welcome all of you. So let's start with our session for today's topic, online education transition of library and library sciences. I am Dr. Shriparna Samanta, working as a relationship manager, academic and corporate with Balani Infotech. So at the very onset, I welcome you all on behalf of Balani Infotech, all our honorable panelists, our speakers, and all the participants who joined us for this very valuable webinar session. So this is our sixth The Wire webinar. The Wire platform is brainchild of our managing director, Mr. Kailash Balani, where we invite reputed and renowned speakers and panelists specialized in their particular field of subject. We have discussion on some of the particular topics. As we all know, our today's discussion topic is online education, transition of library and library resources. As I'm a new joinee with Balani Infotech, but when I came to know about how they are helping all the members of research and academic fraternity by understanding their needs of e-resources, then that is very something very impressive about us Balani Infotech. So how we are talking about the transition, during our childhood, we used to go to libraries, we used to take some storybooks for our summer holidays, then for our any of the breaks and something like that. But nowadays, even every child, every children is moving toward the e-resources. They are reading these storybooks over their mobiles, laptop, Kindles, or whatever kind of resources they have with them. So that is the kind of transition what we can see over past few years, and that is along with the library and the library resources as well. So now, without taking a much of the time, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Prabhat Kumar Pandey sir. He is president of MPLA. I would like to invite Dr. Sandeep Pathak sir. He will be our moderator of the day. He is deputy librarian from IISER Bhopal. For our panelist discussion, we have Dr. Anjali with us. She is deputy librarian IIT Indore. We have Dr. Mukesh Pathak with us, deputy librarian School of Planning and Architect Bhopal. Dr. Shiv Sindhu Choksi sir, University Librarian Rajiv Gandhi Pradhyogiki Vishwavidyalay Bhopal. So again, I would like to mention about the some of the ground rules for those participants who have joined us later on. If you anyhow drop out of the webinar, then please join us with the same link. After the whole discussion is over by our panelists, we will open our chat box for the direct interactive question and answer sessions where you can ask your questions to our panelists. And after that, we have a very exciting quiz coming up with you. So we will be announcing 3 winners for our quiz. So stay tuned with us till the end of the webinar. And as I told you, our today's moderator will be Dr. S.K. Pathak sir. So I would like to give a very brief introduction of Sandeep Kumar Pathak sir. Yes, I will call it a brief introduction because his achievements are so that if I start enlisting them, it will take a whole day, I guess. So Dr. Pathak sir is presently working as Deputy Librarian IISER Bhopal. He has a wide experience, very broad and rich working experience of 22 years. Prior to joining IISER Bhopal, Dr. Pathak has worked at IIT Mandi, IIT Kharagpur, IUCAA Pune, InflipNet Center Gandhinagar, and Institute of Plasma Research Gandhinagar. So he also served as mentor librarian for IISER Behrampur and founding librarian for IIT Mandi. Dr. Pathak has published more than 65 plus articles, nearly 68 articles in different journals, national, international conference proceedings, and edited 3 conference proceedings as well. Not only for the publication, but he is also an editor for 4 international journals and reviewer of 1 journal as well. Dr. Pathak has been awarded with many prestigious awards. Few to list down are like SLA Asian Librarian Award 2014, Taylor and Francis Young Librarian Award 2014, MPLA Innovative Librarian Award 2017, MPLA Academic Librarian Award 2018, MPLA Special Jury Award 2019, IISER Bhopal Library also received the Aspiring Young Academic Librarian Award under his guidance. Dr. Pathak has visited Boston, USA in June 2015 to receive his award for SLA Asian Library Award. He has also received 2 Best Research Paper Awards, and he has traveled many places for his academic and research activities, including USA, UK, Sri Lanka, and many places. So now I would like to ask Sandeep sir to take the place so that we can start our session for today. Sandeep sir, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sriparna ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So thank you so much, ma'am, for introducing me. It is my honor and privilege to join all the delegates, eminent keynote speaker, panelist, and team Balani. So, to a very good afternoon to one and all. Today we are going to have a webinar on very important and relevant topic, that is online education, transition of libraries and library services. As we know, due to ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, most of the schools and colleges, they are closed. Few of them are partially open, but same time online classes are on and research is also going on. So in this online education scenario, things are rapidly changing, and role of course the libraries are also changed. Always as the responsibility have been increased. So considering this, libraries need to do a well planned strategy, and also to plan how to provide these online services in this environment. So major services which comes in my mind is like, first is the we need to support the remote learning. That is very important, and then that is what our panelist will be talking about. Then document delivery service is very important, of course, in electronic mode. And then remote login access to subscribed e-resources, whether it is a e-book, e-journal, or e-databases. And then providing access to e-books, especially the textbooks. Like in our case, what we did, whatever the textbooks prescribed in the syllabus, so we subscribe those ebooks from various publishers, various academic publishers, and now our students are able to access remotely. So now most of the academic publishers, they support this content. Means this access to this content can be done by any of the remote login access software. And few of the publishers are also generous to provide this by providing the credentials. So there is no these restrictions are there of IP and all. Then one more important is to populate the library website, because that is the face of our library. And also whatever the open educational resources that we need to make sure that those are available on the library website. So with these words, I would like to introduce our panelist for today's webinar. Today our keynote speaker is Dr. Prabhat Pandey. Uh, he is librarian and head Sarojini Naidu Government Girls PG Autonomous College, Bhopal. Then we have a team of panelists. We have a Dr. Sindhu Chokse. He is University Librarian at RGPP Bhopal, and he is a well-known face in Madhya Pradesh and in India. Then we have a Dr. Anjali Bandi Wadekar, Deputy Librarian, IIT Indore. And we have a Dr. Mukesh Pathak. He is Deputy Librarian at School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. So at first, I'd like to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Prabhat Pandey, to deliver his keynote address. And before I invite him, it is my duty to introduce him, though he doesn't need any introduction because he is a well-known figure in India. But to complete the formality and protocol, it is my duty to introduce him. So Dr. Prabhat Kumar Pandey is librarian and head of the Department of Library Information Science in Sarojini Naidu Government Girls PG College, Bhopal, from August 2013, and he is also holding the position of President of Madhya Pradesh Library Association. He did his PhD in Library Information Science from Dr. H.S. Gore University, Sagar, and he did PG in 3 different subjects. Dr. Pandey is a recipient of Best Librarian Award in 2016 at Thailand, LPA Best Academic Librarian Award in 2017 at Goa University, Goa, and facilitated by the Ranganathan Society for Social Welfare and Library Development, uh, and by the BIMTech for his outstanding contribution for upliftment of library profession in Madhya Pradesh. He is expert of library automation, information retrieval techniques, institutional repositories, digital library, and open source software. He was also a member of the Madhya Pradesh Public Library Legislation Committee, and he is also a member of various national and international committees. He has organized 4 national seminars and workshops on library automation and research methodology. He is an editor of International Journal of Information Library and Society and chief editor of e-Anveshan, an international multidisciplinary journal, and president of Madhya Pradesh Library Association. He has authored 10 books and published more than 110 research papers in different index journals. He is associated with teaching and research in library information science for last 15 years, and he is a life member of various professional bodies. So with these words, I would like to invite Dr. Prabhat Pandey to deliver his keynote address. Over to you, Dr. Prabhat Pandey, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pathak, to introduce me. Thank you, Balani Infotech, for inviting me as a keynote speaker, and my dear participants. So, as you know, today's sixth webinar of Balani, such a relevant topic, online education, transition of libraries and library services. In response of COVID-19 mandate, teachers, students, and librarians globally are being forced to transition to an online-only environment. Though this transition are parties within the education system are being challenged to quickly adapt to this new environment, with librarians being responsible for ensuring all library resources are available from a remote location. As you know, online education is electronically supported learning that relies on the internet for teaching, student interactions, and the distribution of text material or class materials. So, objective of the session today, in my presentation, we will discuss online education, library services, transition of libraries and library services, online library services to academic community, access to various databases to spread more awareness about research support tools, similarity checking tools, remote login access, etc. So, what are the challenges? The challenge facing libraries are in fact a great opportunity, a moment when we all can think differently about what library is. The service it provides, the capabilities and expertise of the people who provide library services, and the type of collection found there. People are thinking that the role and future prospects of library professionals are decreasing. Rather, we can say that they are becoming more important, provided they are keeping pace with emerging new trends and technologies in library and information science, and willing to go out of box to serve the academic community in efficient way. Major focus areas are space, collection, RDM, digitization, self-services.
Professor, any issue?
Yes, actually.
You just click on the slide by mouse,
Okay.
Then it
Okay,
will be
okay. So, visibility of library services. Actually, I think we should close this for participants. Mr. Sirivarna, can you close this session for participants? Because it's disturbing again and again.
Close the, okay, the entry for the close for the participants?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Because that comes on the screen, so it's
correct.
Sir, we have done, sir. You can continue now.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
So,
you, sir.
visibility of library services. How we show our visibility. So, digital aspects. So many aspects are there. Websites, emails, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So many social networks are there. So we can visible upper library services. As we discussed earlier, quiz competition is in this pandemic situation. So many organizations organize quiz competition to visualize their services and libraries and etc. Post relevant content like academic publication data, education directory, various ranking notification, etc. Display of user contents like books, research papers, newspaper articles, etc. Personal connect, it's also important. Children collection. Nowadays, as Sri Varna told, or someone told, children is the major aspect because they are in home. So children library is the one more aspect to us. Library website. Here you can see Central Library IIT Kharagpur. Dynamic website, very excellent website. You can visit and follow these websites. Then remote login access, as Dr. Pathak told earlier. In this situation, we provide remote login access of subscribed resources, open access resources from even so many publishers open their resources available remotely. All library resources are accessible remotely. So American, as you see, American Association for Cancer Research, Science Direct, Chemistry for Life, American Institute of Physics, so many. These are Bioinformatics, Association for Computing Machinery, Cambridge University Press, CAS, Cell Press, CSH, so many are there elsewhere. These are the major resources. Grammarly, it's also for writing assistant online for English. IEEE, the Indian Forestier Institute of Physics, IOP, ISID, JOB, JSTOR, MatchSciNet, MSP, Oxford University Press. These all are Sage Publications, Society for Neuroscience, Springer Nature, and every publication house organize introductory webinar. on regularly basis. University of Chicago Press, Turnitin, anti-plagiarism software, Wiley, these are. So, as you know, open educational resources. Open educational resources are material for teaching or learning that are either in the public domain or have been released under a license, means subscribed, that allows them to be freely used, changed, shared with others. So it is also important in this COVID-19 situation to provide open educational resources. These are some open educational resources: Australian University Thesis and Dissertation, DIBA portal, DART. There you can see eThesis portal, Open Directory project, openthesis.org, Scholars Bank, Emory University Electronic Thesis and Dissertation Repository, Ethos, the British Library, Dissertation Online, German National Library, Pseudo Catalog, France Universities, DART Europe, DataD Association of African Universities, Thesis Canada. So many OERs are there, you can see. Then Google service for academic and research. It's an important aspect. We all always depend on Google. So Google also produce Google Books. With Google Book Search, you can quickly search the full text of a book from the first word on the first page to the last word in the final chapter. Google Scholar. It is also popular. Every LIS professionals should aware about Google Scholar. It helps you to search and find academic papers, abstracts, and other scholarly resources, all with the speed and accuracy of Google search. Google Patent Search. Each Google Patent Search results represents an individual patent. It displays result based on their relevance to the specific search term entered. It displays a number of details about each patent in the list of results. Google Dataset Search. Google launches new search engine to help researchers to find the data sets they need. It's a new service by Google. Then online resources. These are Taylor and Francis. Just a minute. Taylor and Francis, Elsewhere, Wiley, Springer, Science Open, Science Direct, Open Access Libraries. You visit with this URL: Oxford Academic, Carger, Theme Open, Ominix Open Access, BMC, MDPI, Cogent, Open Access, Erudite, Highwire, Directory of Open Access Articles. Then Open Access Print Archives. You visit arxiv.org, CERN Document Server, Chemical Science Repository, COG Prints, Cryptology ePrint Archive, ePrint Network, HAL SHS Archive of Scientific Literature for Science Literature, HAL Open Archive Scholarly Documents, Institute Nicode ePrint Archive, MediHall Open Archive of Scientific Images, Organic ePrint, PhilSci Archive, etc. So now we come to research support tools for academic community. So what are the research support tools? Consortium for Academic and Research, CARE. As you know, UGC CARE. Nowadays, you must publish your paper in UGC CARE journals. So what is the objective to establish UGC CARE? To promote quality research, academic integrity, and publication ethics in Indian universities. From last so many years, it is common to copy research thesis, research article, etc., etc., etc. So UGC established this UGC CARE to promote high quality publication in reputed journals that will help in achieving higher global ranks, to develop an approach and methodology for identification of good quality journals, to to prevent publication in predatory, dubious, substandard journals which reflect adversely and tarnish the image of Indian academia. As you know, from last couple of years, so many predatory journals are there. So to avoid this situation, UGC established CARE to create and maintain a UGC CARE reference list of quarterly journals for all academic purpose. So this is UGC approved list of journals. You can visit UGC CARE website. UGC website, there is a UGC CARE list of journals. You can download from this website. What are in each and every area, there are list of journals. So this is pro forma format for recommendation of a new journal. If someone publisher publish, they have to submit their recommendation with certain documents.
Prabhas sir, we are sorry for request you to kindly summarize in 5 minutes.
Okay. This is Sodh Ganga Reservoir of Indian Thesis. Sodh Gangotri, this is a repository of Indian research in progress. This is SWAYAM study wave of active learning for young aspirants, SWAYAM portal, AICTE, NPTEL. This is SWAYAM portal. Plagiarism in research and prevention. In order to control over this, word is pretty well. In 2002, no need to that. Free resources to check plagiarism. How to check plagiarism? These are some softwares: DupliChecker, CopyLeaks, PaperRater, Plagiarism Checker, QuickText. But most popular plagiarism tool are Turnitin and Orkund. And this is nowadays Turnitin and Orkund. Education with integrity. This is homepage of Turnitin. This is homepage of Orkund. Viper is also, you can Drillbit is also, Plague Scan, you can also check through this. This is if you copy or something to government gadget notification, what punishment to give. Remote login access to subscribed e-resources anywhere, anytime. This is very much popular in this pandemic situation. EZ proxy, Open Athens, Shibboleth, easy to use admin dashboard, remote access to VPN. So reference management system. This is for writing of research article or research thesis. And there are so many reference management software: Jotero, Mendeley. This is the database, Vidwan database. Well, Imprint, NPTEL. It's a joint venture of IIT and funded the ministry. NPTEL, they provide e-learning through online web, the video course in engineering, science, and humanities stream. So NPTEL organize workshops. NDLI is also, they also access, you can open access, so many open access e-books, e-journals, e-resources are there. South Asia Archive, e-learning platform. This is Virtual Lab, an initiative of MHRD. And e-learning, this is developed by Amrita University, is a part to talk of teachers program. eyantra.org. IRNES, Indian Research Information and Network System, is a web-based supported by InflibNet. Indian Institute of Technology Scholar Profile, you can see role of libraries and librarians. Providing the open access e-resources to the academic community, provide selected, pinpointed, precise, and quality material to the users, relevant open access, free e-resources in public domain, be linked with library web page, integrate all such useful e-resources with discovery services if available. Number of publishers are providing trials, complementary access of their resources, can use this opportunity to evaluate e-resources for future procurement, make out user aware about open access e-resources, webinars, communicate them, orientation to open access content, reference management tools like Mendeley, Zotero, etc., data management tools, help user to search precise information using various techniques. Use these e-resources, keeping in view the fair use policy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prabhat, for giving very informative session talking about also the UGC integrity guidelines. I think you must be knowing yesterday UGC has also released guidance document of good academic research practices, and it is a 55 pages document, and I think this is also going to be very helpful for researchers, and now government is also pushing for one nation one subscription. I think in coming time things are going to be changed drastically. So thank you so much, Dr. Prabhat, for giving this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Now we have three panelists today. So I would like to invite our first panelist, Dr. Shiv SS. We call him actually Dr. SS Chokse. He is known by Dr. SS Chokse, and he is University Librarian at RGPV, Rajiv Gandhi Pradyogiki Vishwavidyalaya, Bhopal. So everybody know him, but it is my duty to introduce him before he start his presentation. So Dr. Chokse, he is a very senior librarian and having a rich experience of more than 25 years. And he is a very good human being, helping nature. And even when I came to Bhopal, I took his guidance, how we should move forward. He is having expertise in consortium formation, academic libraries, library automation, RFID implementation, and etc. Dr. Chokse has published many research publications. He has also organized a number of conferences and workshops for academic community and LIS professionals. So with these words, I'd like to invite Dr. Chokse to deliver his talk. Over to you, Dr. Chokse, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep Pathak, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, all the librarians and respective participants. During the COVID pandemic, all the librarians moral duty to provide the resources via online or via internet or via cloud. So basically, we need a resources which is available online and some resources like e-books, e-database, e-journals, e-thesis, and classroom lectures, videos is there. Now, previously Prabhat Pandey told that so many references, they give so many references in their presentation. Now, I told that I am working as a librarian in Rajiv Gandhi Pradyogiki Vishwavidyalaya, Bhopal. We have a more than 1 lakh print resources is there, such as thesis, dissertations, books, print journals, bound journals, other things is there. We have a 6,500 square meter building is there, and 23 well-established departments is there. But due to COVID pandemic, nobody users come in the library. Then, but still users need a resources. But we have a print journals, we have a print resources, but students can't able to access the print resources from the library due to COVID-19. Now, during the COVID-19, our library provides so many things, so many resources, so many books, e-journals, e-database, e-thesis, and we will also provide in many ways, such as we will provide the First of all, RGPB is digitalized to our affiliated institution and registered student. It's a more than 180,000 students are access our resources, which is available in our RGPB digital library, which is also available in our e-library. We have a two ways system is there. One is our digital library and second is our e-library. During the COVID-19, our strengthening is two ways only. First is digital library and second is e-library. Digital library is a basically platform for Indian publishers. In digital library, we have provided all the resources which is available on Indian publications, and we are also providing e-books in Indian publishing, which is also recommended in our RGPB syllabus. So that's why all the students can get it or access the e-books which is recommended in the RGPB syllabus. They can easily access and easily online study it in their own home. RGPB digital library provides in many ways, such as in the mobile phone, in laptop, desktop, and other ways. Now, in RGPB, e-library provides the more than 8 lakhs resources available. It belongs to engineering, science, and technology. Now, basically, e-library provides the remote access facilities, digital discovery services through access, search through discovery facilities, and remote access, and mobile app facilities is also there. We will provide the mobile app e-library facilities on students' mobile phone, laptop, and desktop. During the COVID-19, RGPB provides all the resources on all the students who are registered in the RGPB. During the COVID-19, more than 180,000 students can access the resources via our respective e-library. Now, in our digital library, we have a more than 7,500 textbook which is recommended in the RGPB syllabus. All the textbooks available on students' mobile phone, laptop, and desktop via e-library. We have more than 4,350 e-journals. Some journals are open source based and some journals are subscribed by the RGPB library. And some resources are provided by the ESS, e-social. We have got it very much resources from the ESS. And we have during the COVID-19, we have provided another featured e-library. We have provided the virtual lab. More than 150 virtual lab is available in our e-library. Students can easily practicals on their home or their laptop and their mobile phone. Now we are also doing or establish a virtual library. RGPB and CRISP Bhopal is between a MOU to develop a virtual lab for all the more than 200 affiliated RGPB institutions. It means due to my job is librarian, it is my moral duty to provide resources to all the students on there. Anyhow, they can access the resources via mobile phone, laptop, and desktop. But still, we have some members can't subscribe a newspaper and magazines during the COVID-19. RGPB libraries also provided magazines and newspapers through e-library. More than 150 newspapers we will provide via online, and more than 350 magazines provided via email or via net. Now, it means that librarian having a moral duty to provide the resources via cloud or via net. Every library must be having a e-resource provide via email, IP range, or another way. Now, nowadays we have a well-established library, more than 38 sections is there. We have a virtual lab is there. We have a virtual classroom is there. But due to COVID-19, the student can't access the resources on our library. That's why we will provide a better way via cloud or via mail or via e-library. Now, it is another way or another level to provide a resources via one nation, one resource, and one consortium. Now, we will also, Sandeep Pathak is there, Prabhat Pandey is there. If we will plan for one state, one resource, and one committee is there. If we are sharing the resources via any ways, such as Delnet or anywhere, any platform, we will make a platform for that. Now, we have more than 5 lakh students also registered in the National Digital Library. During the COVID-19, our students can access the more than 68 lakh e-resources which is available in the NDL. They access the resources by NDL. And students also access our archival e-library archives, which is available some print resources, online resources, and e-journals and classroom lectures, which is uploaded on our e-library archives. Now, it means librarian having a moral duty to provide the resource to all the members. But in MP, we are in technical university, but I found that students can't interested to access the resources via net. It is the bigger problems. It is a very, very big challenge to how to improve or increase the access via cloud or via net.
Choksey sir.
Yeah.
Sorry for interruption. I request you to kindly summarize in 5 minutes.
Okay. Now, Sandeep Pathak is directed to me. I close. I over to Dr. Sandeep Pathak. Sandeep Pathak, over to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Would you like to add, sir, something? I just
No. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Choksey sir, for talking about RGPV library and services. And as we know, it is one of the biggest library in Madhya Pradesh and providing a lot of innovative services. And RGPV has also formed a consortia. I know Dr. Choksey was the instrumental behind this. They also have a mobile app, and all their students. I think you have, sir, more than 25,000 students in RGPV.
No. More than 1,80,000 Indian B, 1,80,000 B, and more than 50,000 students in polytechnics.
Okay. So see the vision that before even pandemic, he subscribed a number of ebooks and using online platform. So during this pandemic period also, all the RGPV students were able to access these ebooks and they were benefited from this, his vision. So he also talked about library mobile app services, remote login. So I think this was very useful. These are the things actually, we can help our users during this period. So thank you so much, Choksey sir, for delivering this talk.
Okay.
Now our next panelist is Dr. Anjali Bandi Wadekar. She is a deputy librarian at IIT Indore. So before I invite her, it is my duty to introduce her. So Dr. Anjali did her MA in Sociology from the University of Mumbai and Master of Library Science and PhD from SNDT University, Mumbai. She joined IIT Indore as a deputy librarian in April 2010. So, and she is the instrumental behind the Central Library at IIT Indore. And now they are going to come up with the beautiful library building at IIT campus. And before joining IIT Indore, she worked with IBS Mumbai for more than 6 years and Thakur Polytechnic Mumbai for 3 years and set up their respective libraries in both the institutions. She has experience of more than 22 years in the field of library and information science, and her area of interest includes library administration and management, human resource management in libraries, user services, and user relations. With these words, now I'd like to invite Dr. Anjali to deliver her talk. Over to you, Anjali ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Pathak. Thank you very much. I'll start now sharing my screen. Okay, so before I begin, I would like to thank all the organizers for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity to be with you all here today. And I would also like to say that the topic for today's session, which is online education transition of libraries and library services, is very relevant to the current situation. And it's a very good thing that you have chosen this topic. So while talking about the transition of libraries and library services, let us first examine the context in which academic libraries function. So how is the academic environment post-COVID-19? So as we see in all the institutes, academic institutes, students are not on campus or in classes, or in some cases, there may be a few students, as in our case, there are some students in the campus. Then the teaching and learning is happening online. In our case, the classroom lectures are being recorded and then shared with students. And the evaluation is also technology enabled evaluation. So how have the academic libraries responded to this situation post-COVID? So most of the academic libraries are providing services remotely to users, and because of this, dependency on technology has increased. We are providing services to faculty and researchers and also some students who are residing on the campus. So physical services are also at the same time going on. We are working with reduced staff because mostly it is alternate days or rotation basis. And the print collections are underutilized at the present time. So coming to the Central Library IIT Indore, in our case, actually the transition happened on various levels. As Dr. Sandeep said, we shifted to our new library building in March, and shortly before the lockdown was announced. So the transition started from there. We also changed our name from the Central Library to the Learning Resource Center. So now the library is known as Learning Resource Center, or LRC for short. And this transition is related to physical spaces, collections, services. The vision is that the LRC will be the hub of the institute teaching and learning activities. So use of technology for all the services and spaces will be stressed. Then there will be facilities such as photocopying, printing of thesis, binding of various theses and reports, etc. in the library building itself. Then a stationery shop is also planned. Cafeteria is also planned for the building. These are some of the upcoming spaces: auditorium, conference room, children's library, a free study zone which will be accessible to students 24/7, learning commons, cyber zone, and research zone. So in March, when the lockdown was announced, actually our library was just completing its shifting from the old location to the new building. So how did we respond to this challenge? So immediately in 2 days time, we sent a mail to all the users about how to use remote access to access the subscribed digital content, because we realized that many users had not registered for remote access, though we have been subscribing to remote access for the last 5 years. But as most of the users were staying on the campus, they may not have realized the need. Therefore, just 2 days after the lockdown, we sent a mail to all the users and reminded them that this facility is available and how to register for it and how to access the subscribed digital content through remote access. Also, we created a web page called LRC during COVID-19. This was done in April. So this is the web page. So what all information is available here? First of all, remote access, registration and how to use it. Then about all the library services. We also requested publishers for trial access, and some publishers themselves offered temporary access to their e-resources. So all this information was compiled here on this page. We also compiled guidelines in view of COVID-19, including the do's and don'ts. So these are the guidelines for LRC users, which we uploaded on this web page, so that users will know exactly what they can do and also what they should not be doing. So we resumed our work from April 15 onwards, because 2 staff members were staying on the campus, and all the other team members resumed work from 18th of May. So these are some of the safety precautions that we are taking in the pandemic situation. Sanitization tunnel, which checks the temperature and also indicates if the person is not wearing a mask. Then shoe sanitizer. This is a disinfection box that actually our workshop people we got made with the help of our workshop people. We use this for the parcels that we receive from post or courier, and also all the books which are returned to the library. Sanitizer dispenser. This is the photograph of the library on the day it was inaugurated, which was actually September 5th. These are some of the photographs of the library inside. Actually, this is the 3rd floor circulation counter. As the work is not entirely complete, currently we are operating out of the 3rd floor only, but we are working on the other spaces. This is a free study zone. Coming to the library website, we have compiled detailed information here on the website so that users can access to most of the services, the resources and other information related to the library here. So this is the online public access catalog in Koha. So now this is available on the internet also. Earlier it was not, it was only available on intranet, but now we have decided, to open it on the internet so that students can check the availability of books using OPAC. Then all the resources of the library, the subscribed content, they are listed on the website with the concerned relevant links so that users can access those resources right from here. We also compiled various subject guides for students. The subject guides include all the books which are related to their subject, all the books meaning the classification number, which books they should be looking for, which are the relevant class numbers for them, and also the subscribed digital content where they can find material relevant to their subjects. So all these subject guides were compiled. Then also we put all the tutorials and guides for various resources and compiled them and uploaded them on the website. For example, Grammarly, IEEE Explorer and many others, so that users will not have problems in using these various resources. We also conducted an e-orientation program for new students on 7th of September. Then various webinars and training sessions for e-resources were conducted. And we are also considering some others in the next month, most probably. We also got trial access to various resources since April. So all these resources were available to our users for a limited time. Newspapers and magazines also, these trial access we had. Actually, it is going on right now. Press Reader and Flipster for magazines. We decided to renew all the books which were borrowed by our users so that during the lockdown period, their books will not attract the late fees. So we did the renewals ourselves during these months. Originality check using Turnitin was carried out, and we found that since January to September, we had supplied 1,433 reports to our users. Then in the institutional digital repository, we had added 29 theses during this period. Actual number of the thesis is more than 400, more than 450, I think right now. Then 767 registrations for remote access were done during this period. And we also have a new initiative right now. We are considering sending print books to students because it is possible that the next semester may also be online, meaning students may not be able to come to the campus. So we are working on this. We have requested faculty members for a list of books that they would like the students to refer to. And after compiling this list, we will get the addresses of students from the academic section and send the books by post. And those books which may not be in the library collection will be purchased for providing this service. So as I earlier said, these are some of the options that we are considering for newspapers and magazines. Coming to the e-books, actually we are finding that there are various challenges involved here. One challenge I encountered was procuring individual titles rather than the packages. Whenever we need a particular title, publishers generally try to promote their packages, and they are not very willing to provide one individual title, one or two or whatever it may be, the number. Most of the textbooks which are required by our faculty members, in case of individual titles, I also found that compared to the print copies, the prices of e-books are very high as quoted by the publishers. Another thing is terms and conditions. In case of perpetual access, suppose it is available, then the prices are much higher than the annual subscription. There is also this problem of one concurrent user versus unlimited concurrent use. Because of course, a textbook, it is expected that at least 35 to 40 students should be able to access it at the same time. However, it is very difficult to get this from the publishers. I did some working on this, and I found that in case of, for example, Pearson, where the print copy was 699, the e-book was 9,700 plus.
Anjali ma'am, may I request you to kindly summarize?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm just coming to the end. So these are various terms and conditions offered by various publishers. They differ from publisher to publisher. For example, Wiley offers minimum 25 user price per title and only annual subscription, no outright purchase. In case of smaller publishers, the platforms of their technology partners may not be user friendly. This is one problem that we are facing right now. Getting the required information from publishers and vendors quickly is a problem, and decision making becomes difficult because of too many variables. Also, faculty members expect that the library will provide all the books in the electronic format, whereas all the books are not available in e-book formats. And many students live in remote areas with poor internet connectivity, so that they need e-books which can be downloaded. Whenever they have connectivity, they can download and then refer to it later. So these are some of the concerns that we are facing right now. And I hope that a vendor or aggregator or a company like Balani may take initiative and provide all the required titles on one user-friendly platform with preferably perpetual access or annual subscription basis. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Pathak, and over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Anjali, for giving such a nice presentation talking about your library services during pandemic, and changing the name of the libraries. I think there are a few questions for you all, so I'll take it up once all the talks are done. So before I invite Dr. Mukesh, I request all the participants to please put your questions in the chat box. As I see, few participants are raising their hand, so it is my humble request to put your questions in the chat box instead of raising the hand, because we'll take the questions only from the chat box.
Sandeep, sorry to interrupt you. Once we are done with all of the panelists and we have this discussion, then we will open the chat box for the question and answer session.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Please carry on.
So our next panelist is Dr. Mukesh Pathak. He is Deputy Librarian at School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. So Dr. Pathak is having a 17 years valuable work experience on various positions in profession of librarianship. He was associated with institutes, universities of repute like JK Lakshmipat University, Jaipur Institute of Rural Management, also known as IRMA, Anand, Amity Jaipur campus, Amity University, Rajasthan, Jaipur, and Banastali Vidyapeeth, Banastali. His PhD topic was academic librarianship, effectiveness, dimensions, and empirical studies. Dr. Pathak has organized a national level seminar on leveraging design thinking for introducing innovative information services at JK Lakshmipad University, Jaipur, in collaboration with Rajasthan Technical Library Association in 2019. He has published a good number of publications and made conference presentations, and he is also a member of various library professionals bodies, and he's participated in many conference, seminar, and workshops. So with these words, I request, I invite Dr. Mukesh to deliver his talk. Over to you, Dr. Mukesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for inviting me, sir, and thank you, Balanin, for that, for this giving me the opportunity. Actually, my topic today's my topic is preparing libraries for remote learning, and this topic is inspired by the theme of the which is used by the this theme online education transition of libraries and library services, and first of all, why we need remote services for the library or remote learning facilities in this. So I will discuss in the this content. So the context I will share challenges, opportunities, what is SPAB library experience on it, and discuss with the conclusion. So why we need these services for this? Because libraries in support learning in absence of physical connectivity, which we are facing in this pandemic situation, and other, if the libraries in case the regional or branches like campuses and virtual universities in campus, so that in this case the Association of College and Research Libraries created some standards for distance learning library services in July 2008 and revised finally in June 2016. So they give some requirements for the libraries to perform this activity, and that first of all is available to all users. The library should be available to all users, whether it is a physical, whether or a virtual online resources it has, or its collection is various collections give the access to the users. So academic excellence that sufficient number of resources and that requires that fulfills the user's requirement, and services which satisfy the user remotely also. And third is direct human actions by interaction, instructions and intervention by the library and the user, so that the best communication can be established, so that the user will be more satisfied. Instructions, clear and strong communication should be given by the libraries to the users, so that they can. Previously, Madam also communicated that how they have established the connection with the users when they are out of this library or institute. Strategic planning, evaluating, updating, and refinement, need and outcome assessment. So they have given these 6 parameters for library requirements to establish a remote learning facilities. So these are the challenges that human resources, those human resources who are involved in this remote learning and those providing the facility, they should be well acquainted with the soft skills as well as IT skills, because when user is in remote, they are contacting you from various methods, and they are asking some question. They have their queries, so you should be able to solve them by understanding their requirements, and IT skills will support how to give them the resources and access to the resources. And the library resources, detailed catalog of the physical resources as well as sufficient online resources and IT infrastructure should be there so that it can be provided to the user. And strong communication for the instructions and should be established. So these are the challenges how library handle with the present infrastructure and other facilities. And library services for remote users, designing a proactive services so that many questions. So here we can design our library proactive services by accessing the users' need and service design and disseminate accordingly. And regularly it should be reviewed. So these are the challenges how libraries, each library should individually handle. And these are the opportunities which are available with the libraries so that they can strongly utilize them and give the access to the users. So at present, the standard library management software which are mark supported gives the leverage to the librarians to create a detailed cataloging with the contents also. Koha, Ellipsis, whatever the software which are supporting Mark 21 can be accessible over it. And so that if you have a resources in your physical form and user needs it, and if content is there, so he can ask you the content is exactly what content, which chapter he is looking for, you can scan and send them. So for physical resources, detailed cataloging will be helpful for the users. Online resources, whatever full text resources you have, you can static ebooks, e-journals, and statistical databases. It can be given over the using remote access tools or a username and password, whatever the facility has been given by the service provider. To single window search engine discovery tools are there, and just Procus Human and EBSCO Discovery, Nimbus is there. So there are many single window search engines are available so that users can get the information from them also. So this can be implemented by the library. Social media platforms, various social media platforms are also available to connect the user by mails, so by various social medias, and library can make its own web pages and mobile applications to connect the users. And next, what SPAB library is doing in such situation? So we are regularly communicating our user group by group mails, so that we are communicating them what we have in the library and how they can access them, what are the username and passwords for them to access these resources, and we are communicating them. We have also created a detailed cataloging for that. So many users, almost more than 50% books have a content in the OPEC, so that user can access them and understand which chapter is useful for them and which art. And we are also initiated the article database for the users, so that they can search and get the what articles as exactly, because architecture is a field where single publisher is not there. So we are subscribing various journals from different publishers. So in many cases it is in print publication, or it is a online publication. So to give the access from single window, we are doing the article databases. So access to the online databases which we are subscribing, Art and Architecture Complete for the architecture students, those who are, and we have a thesis, Progress Thesis and Dissertation Global, Sage Planning Collections we are subscribing, and others which we have we are communicating with the users and they are accessing their usability. We have an institutional repository. Actually, more architecture students have to, every architecture student has to submit a thesis on this. It's the final year, and they need a access of the thesis of their senior students. So we have an institutional repository there; it can be accessible over it. And also, library has also initiated a Saransh library inside, and this is a digest and content sharing newsletter, which we are sharing frequently. And in this newsletter, we are sharing them the content on a specific theme, so that if user is looking for a special content on a specific theme, then he has to refer this. So he will get all the resources, whatever in physical available, online subscribe content, or open source content on this thing. Sharing latest issues of the journal and print online. Daily, we are whatever the issues we are receiving, each and every journals which are subscribing, we are sharing to the users every day, so that they can be a library web page or OPEC, through OPEC we are giving access to the various trial resources we have, and we are giving, and we are regularly assessing it, and based on the feedback we are changing our strategies. Conclusion. So this how any library can how any library can facilitate his users by remote learning facility, so they can proactively design their services based on their requirements, and plan them strategically, establish proper communication with the users, so that it can be communicated properly. Collection and all of online resources should be increased, so that full text access can be given to the outside to the users, and periodic assessment of the services should be monitored. So it is possible to give the remote. If any query is there, thank you.
So much, Dr. Mukesh, for a very brief and very informative presentations. So I think now it's a time for the question answer. So Sriparna ma'am, shall we start the?
Yes sir, definitely. We are open for the question answer sessions now.
Okay. So there is a first question. I see the very basic questions, but let me take these questions. First question I would like to answer. There is a talking about emerging sources citation index. So actually this is, all about like recently, this Clarity Analytic we know Web of Science. So when you see the like institute publications, and also there is two categories, like there are regular index journals and there is the emerging sources citation index. Okay. So if you institute, when they have to give this data to the ministry, it is up to you whether you want to bifurcate both the data, or it is up to one anyway. So the next question is to Dr. Anjali from IIT. Ma'am, can you hear me, Dr. Anjali? Hello?
Yes, Dr. Pathak. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So there is a one basic question, but first for you. What is the difference between e-library and digital library? It's a very basic question, but you may give some focus on this.
Actually, yes, these terms are used by different people, and they mean different things by both the terms. So I would say that e-library contains all the subscribed content, digital content of the particular library. Whereas digital library includes all the other sources, such as, for example, we have our IDR, Institutional Digital Repository also. So where we upload all the theses by students, then their BTech, MTech reports, and also various other information related to the institute, such as news clippings about the institute.
Okay.
And there are various other sources that are also added. So I would say that is the difference between the two.
Okay. There's a one more question popping up for you. It says, this is from Nirupma Misra. She says, in India, many academic libraries are not able to access online resources. I want to ask Anjali ma'am, is it possible to a general college of a rural area like Odisha can be created e-libraries resources to their users?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to know when she is saying e-library. So are they subscribing any resources?
No, ma'am. She is talking in journal. So we may refer him, ma'am, like databases like NDLI, and they cover all sort of resources and various OER, and for thesis Sodhganga, and for project report Sodh Gangotri, right, ma'am? So I guess we can ask her to refer such resources, And as you say, she is very much depend on which library, whether she is working, whether it is a school library, public library, college library, university library, or a special library.
Yes, and also Dr. Pathak, as you yourself mentioned just now, I would also like to mention that in addition to the digital content, subscribed content, there are so many open educational resources, and those also we are providing links on our library website from various sources like NDLI, then so many others are available. So those are also very important.
Okay. There is one more question from you. This is a very basic question. What is perpetual access?
Well, perpetual access is a good question actually, because we generally understand that it will be perpetual, meaning lifelong. It will continue without any break. But obviously, publishers are not thinking on the same lines, because I have received various proposals when I ask for a particular title in ebook format. The publisher says that the perpetual access is for 3 years. Then I say, how can you call it perpetual access if you are saying it is for 3 years? So this is a problem. Perpetual meaning from our point of view, it should be, it will be always there for us. But it is different from the publisher's point of view.
Correct. And one more legal issues comes when, these two publishers get merged. Then also this issue comes like, Springer took over Nature, and then Wiley took over, what is the thing, or Taylor Francis CRC? So in that case also this, becomes, or sometimes what happens, these society journals, they keep switching their platform for one publisher to another publishers. And when we buy a package, that price was included. So that time, we are in anyway. So this is one more question is open for all the panelists. Can the librarian suggest to make use of the PDF, which is a book is scanned by a person, his own book, and posted on the internet book available? This I'd like to answer. I'll say no. This is complete, violation of the copyright law, as we know from the 60 years from the date of publication. So I think librarians should not land up in such unethical practices. And Anjali ma'am, would you like to add anything on this, or Dr. Mukesh?
No, I think Dr. Pathak, you have answered it rightly. We should be careful about all such practices. Though we want to help our users, but there are legal aspects of it that we should be careful about.
Yes, yes. Ma'am, there are many questions popping up for you. Since your talk was very interesting. Dr. Sriram says, I wanted an answer from Dr. Anjali, how they have dealt with the price negotiation for ebooks.
Okay, so good question. Actually, I am dealing with it. I have been working on this for the last 2 months at least, and I am facing many challenges. So rather than negotiation, because I don't think for price, there is much negotiation. There is scope for much negotiation for one library. Though I asked for discount, and publishers have given some discount. For example, Taylor and Francis gave us, I think, 20% discount when I bought some 25 titles. Then some others said, Wiley said 20% discount. But then again, there are some riders that, but see, in case of big publishers such as Wiley and Taylor and Francis, that is not much of a problem, because it is, their platform is good. Accessing the books after you purchase them is not a problem. The major problem I face is in case of smaller publishers, because they don't have their own platforms, and they are partnering with others, technology providers, and those platforms are not very user friendly.
Correct. And I'd like to share my experience here. Like recently, like we all ICERs having a ICER consortium. So what we did actually, we negotiated with the major 9 publishers, and we had a 3-4 very clear cut question. First is that there should not be any restriction on number of pick and choose model. There should not be restriction. Second thing, there should be a flat discount per structure, like 1 to 10 books, 10 to 20 books, 20 to 50 books, like this. Third, we had the, the discount against the print book available in your collection. So that I'm very, even thankful to these academic publishers. They have given a very high, I don't want to disclose on this platform, but they have given a very high discount on in case that same print book is available in your library. Now question comes how they'll verify. So in that case, they says either you send us the screen. I was unmuted. Okay. So we have to give them the access to our web OPEC so they can check the availability of books. So this is how we did, and I think so. As we know, publishers are having a 2 access model. One model is like this pick and choose model. Another one is the perpetual access. But as you say, nothing is lifetime. Like now, many publishers say 7 years to like 14 years. And like mostly in case of textbook, it is the bread and butter. So they have a lot of restriction. We can open on the platform only. So anyway, with all these things, there is one more question we'll take from Dr. Anjali. And then there is one question from Dr. Mukesh. So just let me come to this question. I forgot where it was. Yes, this is a question from my side only, Dr. Anjali ma'am. That you says your library name has got changed from library to learning resource center, right? So my 2 questions I have: who proposed this name, and the other question is that does it make any sense changing the name of this facility?
Okay. Firstly, actually, our institute authorities suggested meaning actually they decided this. So I would say the director. So it was not just now, it was from the last few years actually this discussion was going on that we will be calling it not a library but the Learning Resource Center. And this year it was formally because it was inaugurated, so with this name only.
Okay, ma'am. So thank you so much, Anjali ma'am, for answering all those questions so nicely. I have one question for Dr. Mukesh Pathak. Dr. Mukesh sir, can you hear me? Dr. Mukesh Pathak from SPA Bhopal. Yeah, I think he's not around, but the question was that, what are the challenges he has faced during the pandemic, this ongoing pandemic period. So I'd like to add here, that it varies from institution to institution. Like Dr. Anjali and myself, we are from the academic institutions, and research never stops. Research is is on. So considering, I'll say my experience that the first emergency tool, I'll say even the remote login access software, that was the very much necessity. Another point, what we did, whatever textbooks, we prescribed in the syllabus. So what we did, the first thing, we tried to procure those e-books in electronic forms. Man, we did not thought of, like sending the print books by post, because it's not possible also, because, we follow the ratio of 8:1. So even there will be a lot of, unsatisfied, because if we send to few, others are not. So what we did, we procured all those books in e-form. Of course, 30% books were not available in electronic form, but remaining books we tried to get from various publishers, and then we provided them over the remote login access. So this is how we did from our side. So I think I thank you once again, Team Balani. I think I need to, Aparna ma'am, I need to summarize and conclude, or I can hand over to you. What you suggest?
Sir, as you wish, as you wish.
So I'll just take 2 minutes and then I'll hand over to you. Okay. So now it is my duty to summarize the complete. So I think our keynote speaker was Dr. Prabhat Pandey, who is a librarian and also the Honorable President of Madhya Pradesh Library Association. He talked about online education, transition of library and library services, open education resources, and research support tools. So thank you, sir. It was a very informative session. And then Dr. S.S. Chokse talked about RGPB library, digital library, e-library, library mobile app, virtual labs, and remote login access to electronic resources. Dr. Anjali talked about IIT Indore library, changing the name of the library and services. She started trying right from the day one after lockdown, creates SOP for the libraries, library websites, subject guides. I think that is a now upcoming. I think we all librarians should work on this, preparing a subject guide. And then this sending print books to the students and ebook procurement and challenges. So thank you, ma'am. And then Dr. Mukesh Pathak talked about library learning environment, library requirement, challenges, and opportunities. So now I'd like to conclude the session from my side is saying that it was, topic was very good because this is the need of the hour, online education, because even I have seen teachers, they are working hard to take online classes. When I interact with them, they say we are, spending 3 times time because class, they just go and, deliver the talk. So here they really need the help of libraries and librarians. When they're preparing the notes, they want, on computer, all those ebooks, all those, e-journals and e-databases. So that is what they say, whenever we need, we remember our librarian. If they remember us, that is our achievement. So I think let us consider this. Let us, first thing we should do is let us populate our library website, whatever open education resources. Let us assume there is a shortage of budget and all those things. Let us populate our library. And though we'll get a budget, but it is our duty to be prepared to, with this hardship, how we can help our users, what are the open education resources. And then, of course, where is possible, we have to buy all those ebooks as we did in our case. So with these words, I conclude and I thank you once again, Team Balani, for giving me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you so much. And over to you, Dr. Sriparna ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sandeep sir, for your valuable inputs. And I thank every panelist, all of our participants for coming and joining us for this very informative session. And it was actually very impressive to know how institutes like IISER, then IITs, they are investing so much about their e-resources. The way Anjali ma'am said, the model of safety and cleanliness, they have started from very beginning, whenever the books are coming back and for all of that. So as Sandeep sir, you said, research never stops. It's a 24/7 cycle going on. So at this particular time, I think librarians are playing much more important role, and they are like the catalyst who can just fasten up the reactions between the researcher and the research. So yeah, very great job by all of you. And from Balani Infotech team, I thank you all for being such a lovely panelist and with such great information. And Sandeep sir, especially you, the way you conducted the whole session, maintaining the timeline and everything, and each and every panelist. Thank you so much. So now moving on to our next section, that will be the quiz section. So we will be sharing the quiz link in the chat box, and everybody who wants to participate, they can participate. We will select the first 3 correct answers by the participants as our 3 prize winners, and we will be sharing your e-certificates within 15 days, and we will announce the winners within next 24 hours. So our tech team will be now sharing the link. It's a Google form, so you can answer over there, and the first 3 participants are going to get their exciting prizes like as Amazon gift cards, and all the participants will be getting their e-certificates. So yes, the Google form link has been shared with you all for the question and answer sessions. Sorry, for the quiz session, which you can fill and submit it. So